Hey YouTube, Joey here from Team Brain Fanny, and I'm going to be doing a nice discussion video. We're going to be using Card Fight Wiki to look at them, a lot of cards and stuff, and whoops, click that. So we're going to start with the booster set that just came out a couple weeks ago, Seal Dragons Unleashed. I'm going to get some of the main cards, open some other tabs and stuff like that. Wow, there's actually a lot of cards that are going to have a big effect. That's definitely going to be a part. Okay then. Almost got them all. What's the last card I'm looking for? Okay. So I got all the cards. First, we're going to start off with Celestials. And we've got Prophecy, Celestial, Ramiel, the Break Ride of the deck. The Break Ride is kind of important for the deck. It really puts Celestials together, and it really gets a lot of the plays started. Key combos with that could also involve, if I could find them, because I don't remember all the cards. It's like Candle, Celestial, or whatever. I think it's a rare. Yeah, Candle, Celestial. Okay, this card's actually pretty good. Yeah, this is the card you combo with. If I go up, Zerakiel. Zerakiel's a real pain in the ass because it's basically a 3k boost to all. It's like using 6 Margles on 1 Margle on each of your units for the plus 3k. So it's actually a real pain in the ass to deal with, and it's really powerful. It makes a lot of 20k columns easily, which makes it hard to guard and just live against. I'll read the abilities for. I'll start with the candle. Let me do something. Okay, there we go. Now we don't have to deal with that. I'm gonna read Candle Celestial Serial first because this card puts a lot of the deck together, and it's really important. The only problem with it is it's an 8k, so that's why you can't really play 3 or 4, maybe 3 but not 4. That's my TV turning off. Candle Celestial Serial Counterblast 1. No special counterblast, just a regular. And it says, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you have an Angel Feather Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 Angel Feather, put it in your damage zone, and shuffle your deck. If you put a card in the damage zone this way, choose a card from your damage zone, put it into your drop zone. So basically, you put a card in your damage zone to the drop zone, and then you put a card from your deck into the damage zone. Besides deck thinning, it really does combo with Solidify Celestials Zerakiel well, because we'll sit in this on break 4 for any of you who don't know this. During your turn, if you have a face-up card named Solidify Celestial Zerakiel in your damage zone, all your units with Celestial in its card name get power plus 3000. So as long as you don't have a face-down Zerakiel in your damage zone, your units are getting plus 3000 for free all the time, every turn that you have 4 damage or more. And then it just has a special Counterblast 2, and it gives plus 5k, which is also a good ability. So, and I'm going to go to Ramiel now. It says, Limit Break 4, it's the Break Ride, so you get the plus 10k when Angel Feather rides it. You put the top card of your deck into your damage zone, and what's the other effect? Choose a card from your damage zone. Oh, you add a card from your damage zone to your hand, then you damage check basically without the trigger effects going off. So Zerakiels have a lot of deadly combos with these cards, and it really does hurt. They get perfect guards that were lost back. They can set up their later game plays. They can just hit for huge numbers, which is a big problem. I think Angel Feathers right now, until set 10 come out, are actually a very viable deck for the meta, because they're very powerful, and it's actually quite the fearsome deck when you put a lot of the cards together. So that's it for Celestials. I'm going to X these out. That just applies to Angel Feathers in general. You can play the Candle Celestial and the Break Ride in almost any Angel Feather deck, and it hurts a lot. I'm gonna go Steel Dragons next because it's kind of like the quote unquote big cart clan sub clan of the thing, even though it really isn't. A lot of the highlights are like Sweep Command Dragon, Transcore and stuff, but this deck's not necessarily the worst. It's got some pretty powerful combos. The reason I don't like the deck is it's based around grade 2s, and there are ways to play around that, but it does have a lot of power plays, and it's the only Kagero deck that has a it's a cross ride A if you're playing the blockade, so you get the plus 2k, which makes 13k Vanguard. Or you could play a break ride version, which actually isn't bad, because you could do a double 31k attack with your Vanguard in the same turn, so that's actually quite fearsome. And he can also, he's almost like a Vermilion in a way. He's almost like a Vermilion or a Armor Break, because he can clear your opponent's front row. Or you could just clear units anywhere on the board as long as they're grade 2. So it could be even worse. If you really got your opponent into a bad position, you got them a bunch of grade 2s on board, you can actually make them lose a lot of cards. And you get plus 10k no matter what, and you can use the effect to just get 10k with Counterblast too. So the fact that you can do all this is kind of a big threat, because looking at a lot of the special Counterblast for Counterblast 2, you get a plus 5k with your grade 3 Vanguard. This card gets plus 10k, and you retire cards if they have grade 2s. So overall, it's actually kind of a threat. You got the plus 2000 from the cross ride, and you could combo it with Dauntless instead, or maybe a mixture of like 3, 3, and 2. And you could ride the Dauntless on top of the blockade, and then break ride the blockade on top of the Dauntless if you're doing like a weird build, and you get 33k Vanguard without boosting, and that's actually kind of worrisome, because that's a 25,000 guard for one trigger without boosting on a cross ride like the End or the Blood. So it's actually quite a worrisome card, and this card's very powerful by itself. If you're not playing Steel Dragons, you're probably going to be playing Dauntless Dote, and that's also really bad because your opponent can stand up to 3 or 4 times a turn, which is actually very, very fearsome. Dote is already powerful enough, but with a break ride at 23k without boosting can be a real problem, or even a 21k without boosting, just to restand. It's the restanding abilities that really make these cards worrisome, and it's very powerful. Some of the other Steel Dragon cards include, let me go down in commons. One of the ones I know that's actually very good is Steel Dragon Corduroy. It has a special counterblast of 1. When it's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, you retire an opponent's Rearguard, and they look up to top 4 cards of their deck, and if they have a grade 2 in those 4 cards, they have to superior call it to the Rearguard Circle, closed or open. So it could cause a lot of problems for your opponent. You get rid of starting Vanguards this way. It's actually a pretty... It doesn't seem like a plus, but you're putting your opponent in an unfavorable position if they have to retire one of their front row or back row units just to put the unit on board. So, because if they do the early game rush, they could have like 3 grade 1s with the 10k attackers and 8k or whatever in the front row, and you can make them place it in the back row, or you can make them place it in the front row and force them to retire. So it's actually kind of a dangerous card, and it really does combo well with the Steel Dragon deck. A lot of people look at this as like, okay, you kill it and I possibly get one back. But if you're really looking at it in dev, it really does make your opponent go minus in the long run. So that's it for the Steel Dragons, really. Then they have their 10k, 12k, Terry Cloth, which they're starting Vanguard, and stuff like that. I don't know the deck too well. I could probably get Devlin to talk about this when he gets the rest of the deck. I already went over Dauntless. So next up is Eradicators, and what they got Sweep Command Dragon, Choho, and Armor Break for the Narukami mainly played cards from this set. Armor Break isn't really that popular of a card, nor is it that good, but it can have its favorable situations, which is why I'm playing an Armor Break build of the deck, which I did a deck profile on, so that will be up maybe before or after this. But we're going to start with Sweep Command, the more favorable card of this set right now, and it's actually very powerful because towards the late game, whether you're riding it and just retiring your opponent's cards or whatever, you're getting a lot of pluses, so this card isn't necessarily bad. And break riding this, you can retire 2 cards without doing anything, so this card can actually be a big threat. It gets plus 5k from its Limber Break, you get to draw, and you get to retire, all for a Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 2. The Counterblast is not a special, so it works on non-Eradicator cards, that's a big thing. And when you ride it, you can put an Eradicator Rearguard into your soul and retire an opponent's front row unit. So it's actually pretty powerful. You got the big one, Fiendish Sword Eradicator Choho. He's actually really good. At first when I looked at this, I thought, okay, it's a break even. You lose a card, your opponent loses a card. But in the end, it's actually a big plus because you get rid of recycled cards. Like, you could recycle cards like Rising Phoenix. As of right now, most decks are playing Rising Phoenix at 2 because you're already building Soul and you're going to Soul Blast to draw. So you can play that, and then you play Cho-Oh, and you get a free retire as well as the draw off the card, and you still go plus in the end. So it's actually very powerful. It's really good, and you can make some nasty combos with this card. And it's just a powerful card. It has a lot of effect, and this card's only going to get better as the game furthers into more sets and whatnot. I think this card is nearly staple. You can either play this or Dragonic Death Scythe, or maybe 2 and 2. Well, I'm not going to play Death Scythe because I want my special Counterblast to go through when set 10 comes out. But there are people who will play Death Scythe just because it's a Counterblast 2 to retire any rear guards that's grade 2 or less. So this card is really good, so is Death Scythe, and it's more player preference which one you're going to play. I'm going to play 4 of these though because it's actually really good. Armor Break Dragon, Narukami, grade 3, 11k, like just like Sweep Command. But it has a very heavy, costly limit break, and it has no benefits without the limit break, which is why a lot of people aren't going to play it. But the limit break is used as a game ender. What you're really supposed to do with this deck is you ride Volleying Sword and Sparkhorn if you're playing that or whatever, and you get your effects off those. This card's a game ender like Dragonic Descendant, just not nearly as powerful, and it really can be vicious. It's also good against the Sweep Command matchup if they don't have a perfect card in their hand, because you can easily go to 44, 47k in one turn. So, yeah. What you do is its Limit Break 4 is Counterblast 3 and Discard 3. That's an extremely heavy limit break, and you're probably going to pull it off once and decide if you win or lose. That Discard 3 is really what the pain is, and it really does harm you. If it said Counterblast 3, this card would be a lot better. But you have to discard 3 cards and risk it. It's really a late game finisher, and you have to get your plays through. And basically what you do is every player in the game retires their front row rear guards, and it gets plus 10k and 2 criticals. So it deals 3 damage. It's 21k without boosting. If you combo this with Shuki, it's at 34k. And then if you soul charge Corposant, you get 37k. And if you do a break ride, you get 47. So it can do a lot of damage, but you have to be very careful because you're going extremely minus in the process. So it's only if you know you're going to win or you have a good chance to win, or the very rare situation that you have to do this because it's your only chance to win. So, yeah. this card is actually very dangerous. This is actually probably a more reliable build, and it helps a lot more. So that's it for Narukami. Aqua Force. The only highlighted card I could think of in this set is Blue Flight Dragon, Transcore Dragon. Honestly, the Genevious Ride Chain is kind of minor. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm going to say probably what's going to happen is Aqua Force is going to play 4 of these and 4 Maelstroms, or Glory Maelstroms, because the Break Ride effect off Transcore is extremely powerful, and it can do a lot of harm to your opponent in their game plan. I've experienced this when testing with Jalen when he has his Genevious Proxy deck, and it's just a really fearsome card. And if you combo it with like Maelstrom or even Genevious or Last Card Revan, any of them, it's just really powerful and dangerous. So, yeah. I think this card's going to be a staple in Aqua Force from now on for competitive play, because the Break Ride effect is extremely powerful. Besides the 10k, you force your opponent to discard a card before they guard, or you gain extra critical and they can't guard from their hand. So, very powerful indeed. And it's just a very fearsome card to deal with. So, this card's probably one of the main staples. I guess another possible card could be the Libra clone, Terra Knight Lucas, or you could get oh yeah, Pashal got reprinted, and as I said, the Genevious Ride Chain, which has its restanding abilities, so you can focus it more on criticals. I really don't think Last Card Revan's going to have any effect on the game. I think it's a very minor card and not really a danger, so pretty much that. Now for Tachikaze, which got their own subclan, the Ancient Dragons. The Break Ride is extremely powerful because you get to draw 2 cards, you get plus 10,000, and you get an extra critical. You basically Break Ride, retire 2 rear guards, which can actually turn into a huge benefit based on which rear guards you're retiring, and you draw 2 cards to replace them. You get 10,000 power and an extra critical. That's the Break Ride ability, and then it gains 2k when it attacks the Vanguard, just like the rest of the Break Rides. So, or if you have more rear guards than your opponent, you get 2k, okay. So that's it for him. Spino Driver really does combo well with cards like Tyranno, Legend, the Grade 3, the Tachikaze Ride Chain, Raptor Colonel, Dark Rex, you can Break Ride it on after basically getting restored Vanguard. So there's a lot of neat combos you can do with it, and a lot of dangerous ones. So you have to be really careful around playing against this deck, because it can also get a Grade 3 out when it's only at Grade 2 Vanguard. So you have to be really careful. It poses a big threat, and I'd say it's pretty viable for meta. Maybe not top notch or anything, but definitely in the tier 2, tier 3 area if you want to go like that. Aqua Force could easily be a tier 2 to tier 1 deck. Eradicators are tier 2 to tier 1. Narukami as a whole is without a doubt top tier. Gold Paladins are top tier. That's pretty much the set 11 part. Genesis I really can't go over yet because we don't have anything for the deck besides our few cards that came out, because this was released before set 11. I mean set 10. So that's our set 11 meta. I'm gonna have to go over the trial deck release quickly because it's kind of important. The trial decks have actually had, well, the Eradicator one we already know. It released some good cards, like our new Spark Rain, but the real trial deck I'm going to mainly go over is Liberators, because you get a lot of powerful cards from it. You get your Break Ride from here, you get your Blaster Blade here, and you get your Phalons here, as well as a lot of your basic 10Ks, your 10K booster. This is really going to be the foundation of the Liberator deck until set 10 comes out, because you have Gosh Cause and these cards for your Liberators. for your triggers, either you're playing all 4. You're playing rainbow triggers, or you're playing 8 crits, which one set is not a liberator. So this deck really, I mean, this does give a lot of help to gold paladin, because whether you're playing whether you're playing a liberator deck or just a gold paladin deck like Spectral Duke or Platina Azel, you can add your break rides in and gain a lot of pressure through that. So you just gotta be really careful around this deck, and it can do a lot of harm, as you guys already seen. I got a liberator profile up right. I'll leave the link to that in the description down below. Yeah, there we go. So that's pretty much that, and our meta's already been defined from there. I do think Set 11 has had a big impact on the way we're going to play because of break rides and whatnot. Set 10 is going to be really interesting, and one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing as a part of our thing is our Mega Trial deck coming out in English on November is the 10th trial. It's Rise to Royalty is it's the Mega Trial deck for Royal Paladins, and I'm trying to figure out when that comes out. Includes a deck case, a storage box, and 53 sleeves. I'm trying to think where's the release date. It's a Royal Paladin deck, but the main card is Sanctuary Guard Dragon. It's a limit break, which says you gain 3k for each of your grade 1 or less Royal Paladin. So if you have 3 boosters, this card's a 20k beater by itself, which actually isn't bad. So that's kind of good. It's an 11k Vanguard, which is actually really important. It has another ability. When the student's placed on Vanguard Circle, you can discard a Royal Paladin from your hand to search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 or less Royal Paladin and call it to Rearguard Circle. Then shuffle your deck. And then it has the Lord ability. So this card isn't necessarily bad. I don't think it'll have much of an impact on our meta. Maybe it'll be the next grade 3 that will be used with MLB instead of Alfred, just because it has a good limit break and it's an 11k. The card's not necessarily bad, but I think it would have been a bit better if it was in Gold Paladin, just because you can do a lot more combos with it, and there's a lot more fearsome cards in Gold Paladin. I feel like Royal Paladins have just become an underwhelming clan since they've come out, and the only cards that hold this clan up are MLB and Palamedes, maybe Alfred. And this card's a sole Vanguard card, so it's not even a good card to play at 4. You don't really gain any benefits other than your 20k beater. Maybe at 2 or 3, and even then it's not that great. It's quite underwhelming for our meta, and you're better off playing an outdated cross ride like MLB back even now, or even Dote, which isn't too overwhelming, but still a powerful card. The Blood and stuff like that. So that's it for our meta chat, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be letting you guys know when I'm going to locals this Friday maybe, so if I do, I'll be sure to get a lot of videos there. Sorry I didn't get to get many videos at locals last time. A lot of stuff happened. I entered tournament. This week I'm not going to enter. I'm just going to get like all the cards I need for Narukami. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's it for me. Hope you guys liked everything. If this is your first time watching our channel, sorry for the repetition. I'm gonna have an Armor Break Dragon deck profile up soon. Maybe another meta chat or something, because there's some more things I'd like to discuss which I can't think of right now. So yeah, tell me your thoughts on everything I've said about Celestials, Ancient Dragons, Seal Dragons, just the Kagero Break Ride, Eradicators, Armor Break, like all that stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. That's pretty much it. And this is Dre from Team Brain Infinity signing out. Peace, guys.